Remember just like a couple of weeks ago when Tucker Carlson thought it was hilarious that Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez was worried about being killed during the murderous Capitol riot? Yeah, well, now we're finding out that a 34-year-old Texas man has been arrested for taking part in the storming of the Capitol and posting violent threats, including a call to assassinate Democratic Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. So I don't think that this is necessary to have made a congresswoman's concerns about being assassinated by violent radicals a serious thing, but knowing that there is a person who had felt totally comfortable posting that he wants to see her killed was storming through the halls of Congress. What do we think would have happened if that person had come across the representative? Tucker Carlson wants you to believe they would have just had a laugh or nothing at all. I kind of doubt it. Anyway, a little bit more information about this individual. His charges include knowingly entering and remaining in restricted buildings without lawful authority, violent entry and disorderly conduct on Capitol grounds, obstructing and impeding an official proceeding, and performing acts of civil disorder. Miller is one of at least 119 people facing federal charges in connection to crimes committed during the Capitol riots. But you should also know that out there in the relatively new breaking news area is the idea that the Capitol Police might not actually press charges for people who are not directly able to be linked to acts of violence. So just the breaking of the property, the storming of the building, the roaming through the halls, hoping that you can assassinate these people. That might not be enough, Francesca, which notably is not how they've treated protesters in other situations in the Capitol.
I can't. Just one more week in America. Oh my God, here we are. But yeah, just if this were any other group than a group of mostly white Republicans who want to overthrow the government, it would all be criminal trespassing. The amount of arrests, I don't know how many times do I have to say this? Like the speed at which people would have been tear gassed and rubber bulleted down, the amount of state violence that would have rained down on anyone that we've seen raining down on people who've protested for the ACA and protecting Medicaid have been treated with more violence than folks just roaming around with Nancy Pelosi's files. Like insanity. And once again, a lot of people have said this. Barbara Smith, who's a wonderful writer and academic and activist, Black feminist, she said, look, white supremacy has finally come for Congress, and they can't sit on the sidelines anymore. It's been coming for activists. It's been coming for Black and brown people, for Latinos, for Muslims, for immigrants, like this, and now. It's here in Congress. So let's understand what we're dealing with. But I just want to say, we've all had a wake up call, but the one thing that I think we should know is that Republicans, and the whole, I want to drink liberal tears and just make them cry. There's actual violence behind that it isn't just about making Democrats cry and hurting the squad. It isn't just about cajoling them. It isn't just about supposedly holding them accountable, as some from the left would say. No, this is about actually trying to target them. And I think we have to understand that it would have been so much worse, and we've talked about that, if they had run into AOC or Ilhan Omar or Rashida Tlaib or Ayanna Pressley or any of the other happen to be women of color who are part of the squad.
Yeah, and their constant fears of being killed. This is like a particularly intense moment, but I'm sure Ilhan Omar has thought many times over the past couple of years that she could end up being killed because of what she's doing. Thank you to all of them. Great, their political positions, their political advocacy, very valuable. Their bravery in the face of this constant demonization, this constant unfair, misogynistic, racist demonization of everything they do and say is another thing that they've had to deal with. So, very brave of them to continue at all, and I hope that it doesn't get so bad that we lose them. I don't even mean the violent way, although that's obviously a concern, but AOC has talked about not being sure that politics is actually her future. And I'm sure that this is a big part of that. She might not run for election at some point because of how grotesque and extreme this entire environment is.
Yes.
Anyway, really fast, I just wanted to show you the evidence. So He was one of these that was very easy to track down because he just posted about how excited he was that he'd broken the law and gotten in there. He responded to AOC on January 6th with assassinate AOC. So he also threatened a US Capitol police officer, saying he planned to hug his neck with a nice rope. And yeah, so that's the sort of person that was roaming around there. A guy who's perfectly happy killing this female politician, killing a Capitol police officer. Those violent extremists that went to the Capitol, they're still out there. They don't know exactly what their next move is, but they're retooling and looking for another way that they can terrorize America. So just be aware of that.
Yeah, yesterday on the Bituation Room, my podcast, we had someone on from the Electronic Frontier Foundation, and we were talking essentially about, look, this person posted on Instagram, right, that they like the desire to hug someone's neck, a Capitol police officer's neck with a nice rope. Like that was Instagram, owned by Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg, 2.9 billion users on that platform. Dude is a billionaire himself, can't figure out his bangs. You've heard of him. He talks like this. And there is no incentive. Yes, they've done a good thing by kicking some of these crazies off their platform. There's no incentive for them to actually keep them off. And so long as we have big tech, so long as they can continue to monopolize this industry, we're gonna have hate and false information amplified and amplified and amplified even more. And so it is super important that we remember that like, for example, this was a great example that she was telling me. She was like, look, if there's a copyright infringement on this show right now, you start playing Macho Man, right? This video will get taken down in 2 seconds. But if we start inciting violence against AOC or anybody else and start calling for assassination, that'll stay up. That's fine.
Yep.
Because they're not afraid of AOC suing them. They're afraid of, like RCA or MGM or whomever, like a record company suing them because they've got actual money. AOC is one person. So let's just remember that this is all part and parcel of the fact that we need to take down big tech. They have no moral center whatsoever other than making money.
Yeah. I'm not as convinced by this argument because you're talking about some sort of antitrust effort against big tech to protect regular people and not just to let like white males like me monetize our platform. And so I'm not as interested. That's really what I'm in this for.
Yeah.
But anyway,
free speech.
A good point. That's what free speech is.
For more political news breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/The Damage Report. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.